So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is an interesting way for me to teach a lesson. You can hear my voice, but you cannot see my face. That might be a good thing for you. Today we're going to talk about equations of lines in slope-intercept form. Most of it is a review, but I do want to make sure to show you a different process. Remember, we always want to remember that the equation for a line is y equals mx plus b. Please make sure as I'm taking notes, you're taking notes, and then if you need a little bit more time, we can always pause the video. Remember, when it says determine equation of a line in the form y equals mx plus b, the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. I know you're probably rolling your eyes because we've seen this so many times in the last couple of weeks. So this should be fairly easy for you. The y-intercept on this graph is pretty easy to determine. The y-intercept is 2. The slope of this line is determined by finding 2 points and doing the rise over run. So when we do the rise over the run, if we pick 2 pretty points, in this case these 2 points are nice and pretty, the rise is 3, the run is 2. Remember, we can use rise over run, or we can use 2 points. Since the graph is already there, we went ahead and did rise over run. So the equation of this line is y equals 3 over 2, that's the rise. This is the rise, this is the run. X plus 2, because that's the y-intercept. I believe that's going to be fairly good review for you. When the question says to go ahead and test your value for y equals 2, we can test it algebraically or we can test it on the graph. For example, if we plug in y equals 3 over 2x plus 2, and in place of the x, we want to plug in a 2. So y equals 3 over 2 times 2 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. On the graph, does an x value of 2, have a y value of 5? An x value of 2, in fact, does have a y value of 5. So that's how you test your equation. At this point, if you need to pause to finish copying the notes, feel free to do so. The second question is almost the same exact type of question. The problem is, if you notice, our y-intercept is not exact. Okay? In this case, we're looking for an exact relationship, and the y-intercept is not exact. It's between 2. So what we want to do is we still want to find the slope. Again, you can choose 2 pretty points, any pretty points that you want. I'm going to choose the point 2, 1. And let me see, it looks like the point -1, +2. You can do the rise over run again. In this case, please remember that you're going down. So the rise is actually a -1 and the run is 3. So the slope for this particular equation is down 1 to the right 3. We therefore know our equation has to start out with -1/3 x. The problem is we do not know the y-intercept. We can use the equation y equals mx plus b. And we can pick one of our pretty points. I'm going to pick the one that has the positive answers because it's easier, and substitute in. This is an x value, this is a y value. Y value is 1. I know my slope has to be -1/3, and I know the x value is 2 right here. I'm looking for the y-intercept, which we call b. Remember, that's because it's begin here. If I go ahead and solve this problem, I've got 1 equals -2 over 3 plus b. I know, fractions freak us out. Remember, use your calculator. Add 2/3 to both sides. And we end up with 1 2/3 which ends up being 5 over 3 equals b. I'm going to just move this down a little bit so you can see it a little better. So our equation has to be negative 1/3 x plus 5 over 3. Does it make sense that the y-intercept is a little bit over 1, but not quite 2? That's what this is telling us. Again, when we go to check for the value of negative 4, you go ahead and plug in negative 4. Here you end up with y equals 4 over 3 plus 5 over 3. Y equals 9 over 3, which equals 3. So you want to check the point. X is negative 4. Does y equal 3? So you come over here. You've got x is negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And y is 3. Oops, I'm sorry. Woo, I can't count right now. So here's 0, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4 for the x, and up 3. And sure enough, after a little bit of a mistake there, we have the 0.43. So it does, in fact, check. At this point, take a second to pause and make sure you have all the notes and understand what the question is asking. When you go to the next page, we're not going to do all of these because I think you're going to find it to be very similar to what we just did. The only difference between what we did on the front and what we're doing right now is we're finding equation of a line without a graph. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the slope, but we're going to find the slope using our formula. Y minus y, let's rewrite that so that we know where to use parentheses. Y minus y over x minus x. I personally like to do a chart. So what I like to do is I like to know where my slope is. I like to know what my y-intercept is, and I sometimes need to use y equals mx plus b. And then I like to write my final equation. Okay? So, in this particular case, we know our y values and we know our x values. I'm going to find the slope by using the formula. So my y value of 5 minus a y value of 17 over x value of 2 and an x value of 5. So in this case, 5 minus 17 is negative 12. Sorry, I'm going down into the other one. My marker is quite large. That's okay. 5 minus 17 is negative 12. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So my slope is positive 4. I'm going to extend this so you can see. My slope is positive 4. That immediately tells me that my equation has to start out with y equals 4x. I don't have a choice. That's the slope, so that's what it starts out with. To find the y-intercept, we choose one of the 2 points. I'm going to choose the point 525 just because the numbers are smaller, but you could choose the other one. The y value is 5, the slope is 4, the x value is 2, and we're looking for the y-intercept, the begin here. We solve this equation, we get 5 equals 8 plus b. When we subtract 8 from both sides, we get b equals negative 3, and so our equation is y equals 4x minus 3. I'm going to go ahead and do the second one. So again, I like to write my chart. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the chart. You do not have to. Remember, I can't force you to do anything. I just give you the recommendations that I feel will help you. So I'm going to go ahead and find the slope. Remember, the slope is over here. So the y value is 5, the x value is 3. Sorry, the y value is 5, the y value is 3. Sorry about that. Then the x value that goes with 5 is negative 2, and the x value that goes with 3 is positive 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. Again, fractions are okay. Negative 1/2 is the better slope, although if you use negative 2/4, you're okay. So I know my equation has to start out with y equals negative 1/2 x plus b. I'm going to choose the point of my liking. I like the positives, but you certainly could have chosen the other one. The y value is 3. The slope is negative 1/2. The x value is 2. And I'm going to add the b. That's where I'm solving. Negative 1/2 of 2 is negative 1 plus b. Solve like we're brilliant at, because you guys are amazing. And b equals 4. So my equation is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. At this point, make sure you solve. Make sure you have all the notes. If you need to take a second to pause, go for it. The last question is a word problem. It's quite similar. It says a car traveling along a straight road. After 1 hour, so here's the hour, the car has gone 72 miles from Chicago. Notice that can look like a point. After 3 hours, the car is 188 miles from Chicago. Determine an equation. Again, it says for the distance d after h hours. So the only difference is your equation is going to look something like this. Distance d, h hours. It still is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so here's the hours in miles. So we're still going to find the slope. Y value, x value, x value, and we have negative, let me see, I think it's 116, I don't know, 8 minus 6, 8 minus 7, yep, 116 over negative 2. So that to me looks like, 58 miles per hour. So I know that my equation has to start out as the distance being 58 miles per hour. Again, I didn't make my chart in this case because it's a word problem. I suppose I should have. Same exact process. I'm going to choose whichever point looks easier to me, so I'll choose the 172. And so we go ahead and 72 is y, 58 is the slope, the x is 1, and I want the b value. We go ahead and solve like we know how. And we get b equals 14. So what happens is the plus 14 is your b value, and that means the car started out 14 miles from Chicago, 14 miles from Chicago, and traveled at 58 miles per hour. I hope you all have a fabulous day. Your assignment is to do pages 19 and 20 for tomorrow. And please remember that tomorrow, don't come to this classroom, go to H107 because we need to have some people finish the iReady. That's the computer lab. So you're going to go to H107 and I'll have a job for everybody, even if you've already finished your iReady. Have a great day, everybody. I miss your faces and I'm thinking of you. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.